Hello, what's up, guy? And I see you this morning. Okay, and today, this morning video lesson, I'm gonna share with you all about how the level of analysis determines our findings. Before I let you know to this new part, I'm gonna ask you some question according to the old points. Uh, my question is, if you know the answer, take out your notebook to answer and to write it down. What did scholars use theory for? Again, what did scholars use theory for? It's answer that scholars use theories to explain and capture the meaning of real life event in the form of abstract interpretations and generalized assumptions. Okay, so scholars use this theory to explain the capture, explain, capture the meaning of the real life event in the form of abstract interpretations and generalized assumptions. Okay, and the second question: how many levels of analysis does IR distinguish? Again, for this question number two, how many levels of analysis does IR distinguish? The answer is IR distinguishes three levels of analysis. They are the system, the state, and the results. Okay, again, uh, it is yeah it distinguishes three levels of it, uh, the system, the state, and the individual. Yeah. Okay, that's all. So looking back, to this new point about how the level of analysis determines our findings. Okay, let's read together and find out the difficult word. Those are underlined already for you all. Yeah, the first one is perspectives. Yeah, perspective. Perspective a particular, yeah, ways of considering something. It means that's not beside. And the next one is assume. Assumes to take or begin to have responsibility or control, sometimes without the right to do so, or to begin to have a characteristic. Yes, that is called assume, means sonomot. Determines, yeah, determined. Determined to control or influence something directly, or to decide what will happen. Come not. Yeah, determine. Yeah, determine. And gather. Gather to collect several things, often from different places or people. Promote, perchum, yeah. And draw, draw, you very often, yeah, hear this word in the simple meanings. Oh, it has many meaning in of this word. Sorry, draw means to pull or direct something in a particular direction. Tin, yeah, tin. Or one more, it's referred to the, yeah, support. Yeah. Conclusion. Conclusion, the final part of something. សេចក្តីបញ្ចប់ or សេចក្តីសន្និដ្ឋាន ការសន្និដ្ឋាន and systemic. Systemic problems or change is a basic one experienced by the whole of an organization or a country and not just particular parts of it. ជាប្រព័ន្ធ systemic. Linkage, yeah, linkage, the existence or forming of connection between things. ការតភ្ជាប់ Translational. Translationals, extending or operating across national boundaries. ការឆ្លងដែន or one more, it's similar to international. Yeah, international. And terrorism. Terrorism means threat of something like violence action or political purposes. ភេរវកម្ម terrorism. And key, very important, or and having a lot of influence on other people or things. សំខាន់ Indicator, yeah, indicator, something that show what a situation is like. Sojanakor, yeah, sojanakor. Propose, yeah, propose, to offer or suggest possible plan or action for other people to consider. Snow, propose. Adjoin, yes, adjoining, near, next to or touching. Adjoining, no job near. Position, position to put something or someone in a particular place. That, yeah, positioned. And global, dimension, yeah, this is called a dimension, a measurement, yeah, a measurement of something in a particular direction, especially its height, length, or width. That is called, a dimension. We meet misrule, misrule bad government that showed no justice or fairness, sorry, come home. Politicize, to make something or someone political or more involved in or conscious of political matters. พูดนโยบาย technocratic, yeah, technocratic relating to or characterized by the government or control of society or industry by an, elite of, technical experts. Projective boards, groups of people who are responsible for controlling or organizing a company or organization. ក្រុមប្រឹក្សាភិបាល board. Lobby, yes, lobby. Seek, lobbying, a lobby means seek to influence a politician or public official on an issue. បញ្ចុះ Implication, the effect that an action or decision will have on something else in the future. Implication. ផលប៉ះពាល់ access, a method or possibility of getting near to a place or person. ការទទួលបាន psychological relating to the human mind and feeling. ចិត្តសាស្ត្រ whenever used instead of when, to add emphasis to a phrase, usually expressing surprise. នៅពេលណា yeah, នៅពេលណាក៏ដោយ yeah. Perception, a belief or opinion often held by, many people and are based on how things seem. ការយល់ឃើញ perception. Move on to the next one. Scholarly, someone who studies someone who study a lot on a particular subject or general things to know it clearly and, knows a lot about what they study. That is called scholarly. អ្នកប្រាជ្ញ generalize, involving a lot of people, places, or things. ជាទូទៅ or ទូទៅ generalize conclusion ការសន្និដ្ឋានទូទៅ scope, the range of a subject covered by a book, program, discussion, class, etc. វិសាលភាព scope. Insight, a clear, deep, and something certain understanding of a complicated problem or situation. ការយល់ដឹង insight. Remit, already, sorry. And, yeah, the next word about from the system level. Gain, gain, means to get something that is useful, that gives you an advantage, or that is in some way positive, especially over a period of time. ទទួលបាន yeah, gain. Dynamic, forces or, processes that produce change inside a group or system. សក្តានុពល dynamic. from the state level. Uh, distinction a difference between two similar things. Pip distinction. Uh, okay, and rigid, not able to be changed or persuaded. Tangrang. In isolation. In isolation, the condition of being alone, especially when this make you feel unhappy. ថានៅក្នុងការដាក់ឲ្យនៅដាច់ដោយឡែក insulation in isolation. Okay, and the next yeah, the next slide here. Potentially. Oh, sorry, everybody. Oh, no. We study from this part. Yeah, only this part from the state level. Yeah. Okay. So I hope and strongly hope that everyone take out notebook to write them down, because in this new books, a textbook, you have a lot of difficult book to study, and really difficult for you to understand. But I think that you all try to read it, because you have yeah the soft files in your hands already. Understand you, and how the level analysis determines how the levels of the analysis determines our findings. Let's read and to know about the reading in this new part together. Being aware of various possible perspectives helps us to develop an understanding of where we stand as analyst and observer. So, analyst and observer. It also guides us through the process of investigation and analysis. First of all, the particular perspective we assume determines the kind of information we would need to gather and look at in order to be able to answer our questions and draw meaningful conclusions. Yeah. Uh, sorry, or system level, or is called systemic. Study would need to consider global linkages that go beyond a single interaction between states. It would need to look at such things as the balance of power between states and how that determines what happens in global politics. This could include developments that are even outside the immediate control of any particular state of groups of states or group of states, sorry, such as the global economy, transnational terrorism, or the internet. A state level study would require careful consideration of what kinds of state we are looking at, how they are ordered politically, their geographical position, their historical ties, and experiences, their economic standing. It would likely also look at the foreign policies of states, meaning their approach to and practice of interacting with other states. Key indicators of the foreign, policy of states would be the policy proposal and decided by government, statement and of statement of top level politician, but also the role and behavior of diplomats and their adjoining bureaucratic structure. Yeah, also the roles or behaviors of diplomats. Diplomats, uh, he or she, yes, is really important for the country and countries. A group, a group level analysis would again need to try and break the analysis down into certain kinds of groups, how they relate to the state level and where they position themselves with respect to the global dimension of the issues they are dealing with. An example of this can be seen in the work of England et al. 2012, who discussed global financial crisis as the misrule of experts, pointing at the politicized roles of technocratic circles and the relative lack of democratic control over the board of large banks and corporations. A group level analysis focusing on foreign policy would look, for example, at the roles of lobbying groups and the ways they influence national decision making on an issue. This is discussed in a group level analysis. If looking at the action of individual, we would likely also need to engage with the implication of human nature. This can be seen in the psychology and emotion behind people's action and decisions. Uh, their fears and their visions, as well as their access to information and capacity to make a difference. Psycho- Psychological factors do not only matter at the levels of individual members of society or of a group, they are also important factor in the analysis of foreign policy, whatever particular mindset and perceptions of political leaders and key actors might influence their decision and behavior. Which one of these specific perspective we choose would really influence our findings. In other words, in other words, the focus or levels of analysis determines the outcome of our scholarly investigations. Meanwhile, the real life event we are analyzing remain the same, of course. That is particularly important consideration if we aim at developing generalized conclusion from our observations. Strictly speaking, our conclusion would only be valid within the scope of the level of analysis, sorry, we chose to focus on uh, uh, okay insight provided by other perspective or would remain outside the remit of our analysis. To illustrate this, let's stick with the above examples of the global financial crisis as it is one of the more debated issues in contemporary politics. Okay, to illustrate this, let's take with the bare example of the global financial crisis, as it is one of the more debated issues in contemporary politics. Okay, from the system level, if we studied the global financial crisis from system level perspectives, for instance, we would expect to gain uh, an insight into the global dynamic dynamic that make up the international financial system. Focusing on the big picture would enable us to develop a comprehensive model of explanation uh, but that could potentially capture the state and national economies within that global system. The explanation of we derive from the systemic model. However, might exaggerate the system level factors that have conditioned the global financial crisis. As a consequence, we might overlook a lot of psychological and sociological issues that would be the subjects of the group level or individual level analysis. Okay, now let's look at to uh, the state level. The first, yeah, from the system levels. Okay, and the second about talks about the from the state level, about the state level. If we studied the same theme from a state perspective, we would develop a greater level of detail about specific circumstances in a particular state as well as in their interaction with each other. Their distinction here, as will be discussed further below, is not quite as rigid in practice as the state level in reality looked at in isolation, but more in its wider systemic context. For our example, this would mean that the world financial system is taken as the framework in which state actors operate. So state action is often conditioned by factor by an uh, yeah the state control the state control. Okay. Oh, everybody, we will continue to the next part because it has the one more of the level analysis level, like from the state level here, and also the group level. Okay, let's continue to the next. From the group levels, if we study the issue from a group level perspective, we would yet again reach a different result in the findings. In our findings, we would potentially emphasize aspect of the global financial crisis. Okay, like potentially, it means possibly, and emphasize to show that something is very important or worth giving attention to. But yeah, yeah, and crisis that would escape a more comprehensive global level analysis. This includes analyzing the impact of the crisis on society and livelihood. Livelihood means the ways that someone earns, the money people need to pay for food, a place to live, clothing, etc. Các job chỉ vật, yeah, of individuals as in yes exemplify actually is word and in y but in the yeah in the past, so we need to change y to ied. Exemplify means to be or give a typical example of something ตัวอย่าง เลือก chia ที่ họ yeah of individual as in exemplifies in the UN report the global social crisis 2011. Okay, at the next level, from the individual levels, this is the three part, yeah. uh, finally focusing on the individual level and say particular action of specific personality in the public realm. Yeah, be they politician, diplomats, or bankers, would lead to us drawing different conclusions again about the causes and consequences of the financial crisis. Okay, and one more. Okay, let's finish to this part. The bigger picture, in short, being aware and acknowledging the potential gaps in our observation, that is to say, all of what is not directly captured by our perspective or level of analysis is important. Applying rigor, yeah, rigor in our analysis is also important. These guidelines for scholarly investigation are applied in many ad- academic disciplines, including the natural sciences. One German theoretical physicist Werner K Hansenberg, 1962 to 1958, said in respect to research in his field very much also applies to IR. We have to remember that what we observe is not nature in itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning. Scholarly writing are nevertheless not always explicit. Explicit means clear and exact. And one more rigor the fact that people are made to follow rules in a very severe way. Một chọn. Okay. Explicitច្បាស់លាស់ nevertheless mean ទោះយ៉ាងណា yeah ទោះយ៉ាងណា uh, not always explicit about their particular perspective or level of analysis. So, as a reader, it is important to stay critical, yeah, and okay, to look closely and inquire whenever an argument presented to us appears to straddle potentially conflicting analytical lenses. As you start to read deeper on particular I or I think that is this part I don't need to read for all of you and uh, to give you some explanation for everybody because it is the end of this part above. Okay, okay, but uh, let's continue. I think that I should read for you to end out this part. Okay, as you start to read deeper on a particular IRC, already remind yourself of the importance of analytical clarified. Yeah, clarity, sorry, clarity, I mean the quality of being clear and easy to understand. Do not hesitate to expect and demand it even from renown. Yeah, renown means famous for something. ល្បីដោយសារអ្វីមួយ orders, renowned orders, renowned order. Yeah, renowned order means អ្នកនិពន្ធឬក៏បាទអ្នកនិពន្ធដែលមានភាពល្បីល្បាញ an established publication outlet វាកន្លែងបោះពុម្ពផ្សាយ Note that clarity concerning one's level of analysis does not necessarily mean that different perspectives could not be used in conjunction with each other. On the contrary, as will be argued further below, many of today's political challenges are so complex that they require our analysis to span across various level. Span means to access or continue for a particular length of time. Yes. បន្តមាន okay. And conjunction means situation in which events or condition combine or happen together. That's called conjunction. Okay, everybody, that you pay your attention and you've pays a lot of time to listen to me and study and write the vocabulary into your notebook. Thank you. If you have the question, you can ask. Goodbye, everybody. See you. Good luck. We will continue to the next week. Okay, to the next part. In just let's take a look together about the foreign policies. Yeah, foreign policies. Goodbye. See you. Good luck.